Hello guys, Aurum Fortis here, and today for you guys I have my 2017 Republic Army. In front of you, you guys can see my entire army. This is it. This is 66 figures, including the 3 droids. You guys can see back here. I'll be going through all the figures, and we have them from all different kinds of Republic factions, except I did not include Old Republic factions such as the Old Republic Troopers and Old Republic Jedi, which I have one of. And then over here we have our Jedi, we have Clone Troopers and Senate Commandos, both Phase 1 and Phase 2. We have pilots, and we have all kinds of different Clone Troopers. All of these are official figures, so there isn't any Clone Army Customs in here. I don't own any Clone Army Customs, I only own a few weapons, so I wouldn't be able to put any Clone Army Customs figures in here. But what I'd like to do is every single year I would like to do one of these army videos and just see how much the army has gotten larger. So obviously this year it hasn't really gained very much. This is the first army video as well, but really the only things I really gained were a few Kashyyyk troopers, and we didn't have a clone battle pack at all this year, so there really wasn't much I could gain. The main ones being Isla Secure over here, and we also have a Phase 2 gunner. I'll be going through all the figures like I said, so let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. First off, with the Jedi, which you guys can see are in front of you, we have Nadar Veb, we have Kit Fisto. This guy's actually from 2008. He's quite an old figure, as you guys can see. He's got a lot of wear on him, but he does look really good. This is Anakin Skywalker. He came inside of Anakin's Jedi Fighter, so that's the one you guys see in Episode 3. We have Obi-Wan, who came in General Grievous's wheel bike. We have this Yoda figure, who's actually missing his hand, you guys can see, and that is because of my dog. So unfortunately Yoda is missing a hand, but he came inside of a 501st ATRT. We have Mace Windu. This guy I got off of Bricklink actually, because I do not have the ATTE obviously that he came in. He's also available now with the General Grievous's speeder set. Here we have Kiadi Mundi. He came in a Geonosian fighter, and as you can see, he's got the Clone Wars eyes, but supposedly in 2018, just a few days away, we are supposed to be getting a new Kiadi Mundi without the bug eyes, which is the first one we'll be getting in quite some time if we have gotten another one. I believe we got it, in 2003 with the Jedi shuttle, but one of you guys can clarify it for everybody else. We have Plo Koon. He came in his fighter along with his droid, which is over here. We have Isla Secure, who I just got this year, and we have Barriss Offee as well, who came with Commander Gree. So you guys can see Jedi is the one that I have the most of, and this is the one that's actually most to scale. There would be generally this amount of Jedi. Obviously there would be a little bit more in an army, but obviously, I mean, there's not going to be 5 regular Phase 1 Clone Troopers in the Clone Trooper armor. But the next thing we will get into, and I'll move the plate a little bit, we have the 212th Battalion. So 212th Attack Battalion, obviously led by Commander Cody. He is in Phase 1 armor, as you guys can see, so he doesn't match everyone else, but the only way to get a Phase 2 Commander Cody is you can get a buildable figure, which obviously I wouldn't be able to include inside of this army, or you could get the Clone Army Customs version, which I obviously do not have. But here we have Commander Cody, and then we have 4 of these aerial troopers, as you guys can see. So I did get 2 of that 212th Utapau Troopers battle packs. We got all 4 of them right here. Then if I move the base plate over, you can see that I have 3 more, just the regular 212 with their distinct yellow markings. You guys know this is my favorite clone trooper, because obviously, I mean, he is my insignia for YouTube. Love the way those guys look. I would really like to get some in blue or in red, because I think they look really cool in that color, but I do really like the 212th Attack Battalion. Probably one of my favorites, along with the 91st Reconnaissance Corps, which I only have one of over here. Next, we'll get into the Phase 1 troopers, and right here, you guys can see we have a Phase 1 gunner right here, and these 4 guys came in the battle pack. Now, one of them would have the pauldrons and stuff, but I just wanted to leave them nice and clean. But these guys are all the way back from 2008, so there are some pretty old figures. They'll be 10 years old in just a few days, so they are pretty old. We have the Gunner, and then we have 5 of these guys. These 2 came in like a book. It was some kind of clone and droid book, I remember that, and it taught you how to build a ton of different little speeders and walkers and things like that, but I do remember getting those guys. Next, we have Senate Commandos, which I had no idea I had this many of. I actually found these 3 guys in a bin just a few days ago, so I'm very excited to have those guys. I know the Senate Commando pack wasn't really a favorite among a lot of people. Personally, I was actually kind of disappointed too, because I happen to have 2 Senate Commandos, so they were very special because you could only get them in the Cad Bane speeder set and inside of the actual giant Jedi transport shuttle, or you guys know the giant Republic cruiser set. And I mean, that one was absolutely crazy. You got, I believe, 2 of these guys, but the only way to get this guy was inside that Cad Bane speeder set. But when this came out, I decided to get one, but I was kind of disappointed because with that battle pack, you either loved it because you finally got Senate Commandos, or you hated it because they were no longer special because everybody has Senate Commandos now. They're also not very usable unless you have a lot of Senators, which I do not, and they only have a few Senator figures. I believe they have Padme, Anaconda Farr, and Newt Gunray, I believe is it. I think they might have one more, but you guys would probably have to clarify that for me. Next, we have the 41st Elite Corps, led by Commander Gree. He's obviously in his Phase 1 armor right now, so I'll go ahead and move a little bit closer. So we have Commander Gree right here. He came with Barriss Offee in a Geonosian cannon set. Very happy to have this guy. The ways to get the Phase 2 version, which is quite common now, is with the Clone Turbo Tank set and with an ATDP. I believe it's a 3-legged walker that we saw in 2013 or 2014 during that sort of Kashyyyk era, which they were doing a lot of different Kashyyyk packs, which is how I got all these guys. So next we have Commander Drift, which you guys know leads the 505th Elite Corps, but I just decided to pair them up. So we have another 505th Elite Corps. Again, these guys are of my own creation. I did sort of create the 505th Elite Corps. I don't know if anybody else really recognizes them, but I realized there wasn't really a name, so I named them the 505th in relation to the 501st, which I have one of over there. And then we have 3 of these guys, which are just our regular 41st Elite Corps Kashyyyk Scout Troopers. Do really like them. I'll go ahead and move the plate even closer, and then you guys can see we have the Geonosian Battle Pack Troopers. I have 2 of the aerial variants, which I do really like, and 2 of the regular Phase 2 variants. I really like these figures. I didn't quite like the main build a whole lot, but I really just got the set for the figures because they were really cool from that battle pack. So next we have probably one of my least favorite troopers because they're not very usable, because I mean they're bright orange, they stick out, and we only saw them in one Clone Wars episode where they had to defuse bombs. So realistically, you would maybe have a few squads of these in the entire Republic army. So these are my bomb squad troopers. As you can see, I got 2 battle packs because the battle packs came with 2 of them. Unfortunately, I would have loved to see an extra one of these guys, the Horn Company troopers, or I would have liked to see another ARF trooper, which we have right there. But these guys aren't very useful, so unfortunately, I have a lot of them, but I mean, it's cool to have a lot of bomb squad troopers. They're just not very useful for mocks and things like that, but I'm sure they'll be worth quite a bit of money in some time. But a lot of people have these troopers because after they made the battle pack with these guys, the Phase 1 troopers, they decided to make this battle pack, which wasn't super useful because of the bomb squad troopers, but it made up for it with these ARF troopers from Lightning Squad. You can see he's got the 4 on the side. I have 2 of those guys. They both have the 4, So unfortunately, I don't have any with the 1, 2, or the 3. I know you see 2 and 4 who accompany Mace Windu on Ryloth. The others stay behind with Commander Pawns. We have this guy who came with a ARC Trooper battle pack with a cannon and some commando droids. And then I have this guy right here who unfortunately is missing his helmet. So I just gave him a piece of hair. But he's basically the only unofficial character in here because he is without his helmet, unfortunately. So I feel bad for him because he doesn't have his helmet, but sorry to him. And then I'll go ahead and zoom the camera back a little bit because we have to get to the figures in the back. We'll just bring up for you guys. Here we have a Phase 1 Lieutenant. This is the one that came in the Hailfire droid set because I know there was one for May the 4th, or he was an exclusive figure, but he had regular legs. This guy, however, has printed legs, so he isn't the rare one, but he's still really cool, and he does have a chrome visor, which I do really like. And then we have a Sergeant right here. He does have gray hands for some reason. I don't know why I gave him gray hands, but he does look cool. He's got that olive green coloring. He came in a battle pack along with this guy and some Droidicas. And this is my only Phase 1 trooper, so the reason I haven't done any mocks with these guys is because it would be kind of weird to see a Lieutenant, Sergeant, and then just one of these regular Phase 1 troopers. Next up, we have the pilots. I have Captain Jag here, who we saw take down Plo Koon in Revenge of the Sith, unfortunately. And then the two other pilots that I have is we have just a regular pilot right here that I have, and then we have a V-Wing pilot right here, which I do really like. I do really like this V-Wing pilot because I do not have the V-Wing anymore. It was destroyed, but I do still really like this figure. I am really happy to have him, and he came along with a red astromech, which is over here, you guys can see. And then right over here, we have my only 91st Reconnaissance Corps figure, and he looks really cool. He came in the Seleucami battle pack, which came with a lot of droids, and then this one figure, but I am really happy to have him. He does look really cool, and I went ahead and gave him a backpack as well. I got an extra backpack in that new Galactic Empire battle pack, so I decided to put it on him because I do know that these guys have backpacks. And then we have my lone 501st trooper. He's all by himself, but I do really like this trooper. He does look really cool. He came with the Yoda figure that I have down there. So that's my one and only 501st figure. And then we have two of these Horn Company troopers. I do really like them. I haven't used them in too many mocks, but they were under the command of Eth Koth, who's a very rare figure. If you guys do have an Eth Koth, you guys are very fortunate. He is very rare, just like his counterpart, Agent Collar. And then we have one of these guys who came in the Microfighter Clone Turbo Tank. This guy. I know you can also get him in the Advent Calendar from, I believe it was 2015. And then we have this Gunner, which is new this year. Supposedly we're going to get a battle pack with one of those guys and one of these guys, along with that Kiadi Mundi that I talked about, and a Coleman Trevor figure. And then finally for our figures, we have two of these ARC troopers. With the red pauldrons, I gave them the antenna. But these guys look absolutely awesome. I really want to do some mocks and possibly some stop motions with these guys. They do look really cool. And then onto our droids. We have all these droids, by the way, did come in Clone Wars sets. I'm not including any of the ones that came in, say, a Y-Wing or an X-Wing. We have this guy. He came in the ARC 170 Starfighter from a few years ago. He looks really cool. We have this all brown one, chocolate brown, that we got in the Plo Koon Starfighter set. And then we have this guy who came in the V-Wing, like I said before, guys. So that was my clone army. But before you guys go, I just want to let you guys know of my goals to expand this army. Really, I think this army is already of good size, but I really want to get more of these guys, is what I really want to do. And I want to get a lot more Phase 2 troopers or Phase 2 aerial troopers, because I really do like the Phase 2 troopers. I think they look absolutely awesome, and I will say they are probably my favorite out of Phase 2 or Phase 1. I love the Phase 2 troopers, especially these guys. The aerial variants, which we've only gotten 2 of. We've gotten obviously the 212th Attack Battalion and the Geonosis troopers, but I'd like to expand this the best as I can. I mean, either way, whenever there's a Clone Wars set, I'm probably going to get it. I mean, the new one they have now with Mace Windu and General Grievous, I'm not going to get, because I have both of those figures and the build just doesn't really interest me. But if there's ever a set with clone troopers and a Jedi or a clone battle pack, I'm always going to get the battle pack, because I really do like the Clone Wars. I think it's a very fascinating era, and that's why most of my mocks involve the Clone Wars. This is also my largest army out of all the different factions, and I will be doing videos that you guys can go ahead and check out of my Rebel army and an Imperial army. I won't be doing Resistance or First Order, because I actually don't have any Resistance or First Order, which is why you guys haven't seen any Resistance or First Order mocks, because I simply don't have any troopers to use in those mocks. But that is my plan. So basically what I'd like to be able to do is create a larger Rebel army, I think, because the Rebels I do have are really old, so I really do need to refresh my Rebel army and my Imperial army as well, because I'd like to do a lot more original trilogy mocks, and based on the Google forum results, you guys want to see that, and a lot of old Republic mocks, which I actually have 2 that are sitting over here. I'll go ahead and get one just to show you guys. But I will be doing a Separatist army as well with all my Separatist factions, guys. But this was my clone army for 2017. If it is 2018 and I've already come out with my 2018 clone army video, feel free to compare the two. And I really do want to see, when I get to the end of 2018, how much the army has changed. In June, I might do sort of like a halfway point army video, but I really would like to create a very large clone army. I mean, I'm not going to create anything like Solid Brick Studios did with the Clone Army project. I don't have near enough money to be able to do that, but I would like to expand this army a little bit. You know, maybe get 3 or 4 sets, if they do come out with 3 or 4 Clone Wars sets, to just sort of build on this army and let it get larger. And really, I would like to create somewhat of a First Order and Resistance army during 2018, and a Rebel and Imperial army as well. So do stay tuned for those Rebel and Imperial army videos if they're not already out, for those of you guys who are watching in 2018, which is only a few days away. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe and like the video if you'd like to come back later. And comment down below, do you think my army is really big? Do you think it's a regular size, or do you think it's small? And are you surprised by how many troopers are in your army? Also, let me know, how many troopers do you have in your army? If you have an army video up on your channel, do leave it in the description for me and everyone else to see as well. I do apologize for the length of this video. I know it was really long, but I want to get through all of the different figures inside of my army. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you.